Hi, my name is Zoe. I'm the Tipsy Psychic, and today we're going to talk about dream journaling. I'm so excited about this because lately I have been getting into the art of recording my dreams, and I feel like the dream world has so much psychic energy and so much power that we just need to tap into. And the best way to do that is through journaling. So all you need for this is a notebook. It can be a sketchbook, a notebook, or I have actually created my own dream journal line. So if you want to go get one of these yourself, you can, but you don't have to use this. You can just use a regular notebook. So I like to begin every morning. I try to remember whatever I dreamed about. I don't always remember my dreams, but usually I do, and I've learned that the more that I do this, the more I tend to remember them. So I'm actually going to use an example of my own from last night. I had this dream that I've been having quite often, actually. It's a reoccurring dream, so I'm really excited to get into it and write down any symbols or any patterns that come up. I always begin by dating my journal entries. It's really helpful to be able to keep track and notice any progress. So today is 12/21/2022. At least that's when I'm filming this. It's a Wednesday. Sorry about my handwriting, guys. It's pretty bad, so hopefully you can read it. But I'll definitely be explaining it as I go along. So the current moon phase is actually a waning moon. It's the crescent waning moon. A lot of people don't realize that the moon has a lot of energy, and it's actually very related to our dreams. So depending on when you are dreaming, the moon's energy will influence your dream differently. And I actually have a page like this on in my journals, so you could definitely check that out. And I wrote, what kind of energy is associated. So the waning moon would be about release, protection, healing, decrease, endings, cleansing, letting go. And so I can associate that with my dream interpretation. I tend to get strong psychic dreams during the new moon, and I definitely tend to get very powerful dreams during the full moon. So it's really helpful for me to look at it. So I always start by describing my dream, just putting down whatever I can remember. In this particular dream, I was swimming in an ocean, and I just remember just swimming, and I look over next to me, and it's my cat, Nyx. So you guys have seen Nyx in videos, but she was actually as a mermaid cat. She had a tail. And so I was swimming right next to her, and it just felt so comfortable, like we were meant to be in the water together. I know it's super weird, but dreams are weird. And it felt like home. I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt really good. And then suddenly, I just felt pulled out of the water, and I couldn't resist. I tried to stay in the water, but it just felt like some force was pulling me up, almost like hands were gripping me and pulling me out. And I just felt like, no, I want to stay in the water with my cat, But then I was flying, and I kept being pulled upward, and I just kept trying to go back, but I couldn't. And then eventually I kind of was like, wow, this is so beautiful. And it was like really clear blue sky, and there's this tower in the distance, like I could just see it ahead of me. And then on the other side, like to my right, I believe, it was like a grand oak tree. It was weird because it was just floating above everything. And I don't even know where I went. I woke up after that, but I just remember seeing these two things, and I didn't know what direction I was going in. So I thought that was really interesting. I just remember not really being able to focus on what was ahead of me and just kind of enjoying being up high. I mean, I've always been someone who loves heights, so maybe that's why, but I guess we'll explore that further. And I always try to draw a quick sketch of my dream. I feel like as a visual person, it's really helpful for me to kind of see it when I sketch it out. But, not everyone has to do this. Obviously, if you're using a notebook, that'll be harder. But yeah, and I'm really bad at drawing. This is just for me, so don't make fun of me. I'm not an artist in that sense, but yeah. And so, yeah, so there's the tower, and then there's that tree. I know it looks like broccoli. Sorry, tree. And I guess that's the water. Yeah. And it was kind of on a cloud. So, yeah. Beautiful. Perfect. Okay. So then I want to look at what kind of dream it is. And so I have this lucid dreaming scale, but on your notebook, you can just put any kind of number or make a note. But yeah, for me, I wasn't in control, but I also was aware of what was going on. So I would say I was about a 5. Lucid dreaming is the ability to control your dream and remain completely aware of everything that is happening, but it usually happens on some kind of scale. So your level of awareness will likely fluctuate during a dream, so that's why I created it like this. And then there are nightmares. Everyone knows about those. And I just have to ask myself, was I frightened? Like, how good or bad was my dream? And how scary was it? And nightmares often feel terrifying, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. It's all about symbols. And so I'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, if you're dying in a dream, it can just symbolize new beginnings, kind of like the tarot. And then I also looked at the reality, and I picked 3 because it still felt kind of surreal, right? I mean, what's a swimming cat? Most cats don't like to swim. And yeah, a floating tree and flying. So this is also a reoccurring dream. It's something that I have been going through for a while. I get it about 2 times a week, actually. And so it's about time I explore why I keep getting this dream and why these symbols keep coming up for me and what that means. I feel like that's a really good reason to dream journal. And then I was feeling pretty safe, like when I was in the water, and comfortable. And then it started to feel, when I got out of the water, I felt really free. After I stopped resisting, I felt really liberated. And, it was scary, but it was also really exciting. So I was kind of nervous. And yeah, I feel like it morphed throughout my dream. And I think it's really important to look at who we are in a dream. So for me, it was through my own eyes, and I was myself for sure. But it can definitely change, and I feel like our perspective says a lot about how we see the dream and how we see ourselves, and how the message comes through, because I feel like it can change. So yeah, first person and self. So dreams have a language of their own, a universal language, and that's symbols. And symbols are images, feelings, or signs that are linked to your life. And symbols can be objects, emotions, people, places, events, more. And so for me, I felt like, well, I was the only person really, and then, Nyx, I guess. But yeah, the ocean, the sky, the tower, that was symbols. And then the trees and the cloud. I feel like the oak tree also is such an important symbol, because it can mean a lot of things, but it tends to mean like a major choice, a major decision, like a fork in the path that has to be made. And so, in symbology, that's often what it means. But symbols can change for a lot of people. They can have different meanings depending on yourself, because symbols mean different things to different people. So all these dream books that give you like tons of symbols and their meanings, they might not apply to your dream. It doesn't really matter. It's what matters is what you feel. And I feel like it's what your intuition is telling you. So it felt very warm. And I feel like all of this is really telling me that I'm stuck. Like, I'm in between endeavors right now. I feel like in my life, like, things have been moving forward, but they've been moving forward very slowly. And I know a lot of that is my own doing. Like, I just feel like I've been dealing with a lot of different things that happen at once. And I feel like I've been not able to progress as quickly as I want to. And so I've been feeling like this kind of stagnation feeling, and I've been really sick lately. So it's been keeping me in one place, and I feel like it's holding me back. And I feel kind of like a victim, even though I know I'm not. But, I still feel like, why me? I often do that, and I feel like a lot of us do that. Oh, so I actually forgot to write down the key symbol and theme, and I feel like this is really important because it's really important to look at the patterns, and many dreams have similar themes to them, and that's really important to look at. So mine is freedom. Freedom goes hand in hand with the waning moon energy of letting go and release, and flying is actually a really common dream. There are 8 main common dreams, and I've actually listed them in my book, but one of them is flying, and that often has to do with being free and freedom and liberation. And so it makes a lot of sense based on what I'm going through that my dream would be about, being free, after feeling so stagnant and stuck. And so in my interpretation, I was very familiar and comfortable in that ocean, and I feel like that's a reflection on my life now. I'm very kind of familiar and comfortable where I'm at, but I was forced out of that bubble, and I was forced to confront something higher or bigger than myself, I guess. So rising above that bubble and no longer dwelling. And I often feel like my life is kind of like a bubble. The tower is really important. I feel like it's referring to the tower card in the tarot deck, which has to do a lot with surrender because things are falling apart and there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to kind of go with it. And that in itself is liberating, I feel like. I feel like the theme of surrender is actually a really big one for me. Needing to let go of the need to control. And then the tree is also calling me to action and saying you need to decide. You need to make a decision. And the fact is that I didn't know which one I was headed towards. That says a lot about the situation. This tree is just a reminder. It's a major sign that I need to confront my own bubble and kind of get out of it and stop dwelling on things. And that makes a lot of sense. I crave freedom and moving forward. And so this dream is propelling me to do that. It wouldn't let me go back in the water. So I've had a lot of practice with dream journaling, and I've really learned that your intuition rules the dream world. And you should always trust your inner wisdom when you're interpreting a dream. And don't try to rationalize it or think about it or try to make sense of it, because dreams just don't make sense to the mind. Like they're not logical, They're something your subconscious sends to you, and the real way you listen to them and interpret them is through your intuition, and this gets better over time. And so I actually am going to use these oracle cards in order to see if there's any psychic messages. You don't have to use them. I'm using this one, the castle. Ooh. The castle is significant because it's about holding possessions or feeling lingering and needing to expand, like needing to grow and get further out of this kind of dark chamber, right, that you're in the castle, and clinging on to what you have so much of and not wanting to let go of it. And so this is actually quite interesting because it adds an extra layer to my reading or to my dream interpretation, because it's also explaining to me that there are things in my surrounding, in my environment, that may be keeping me in this situation. They may be holding me back. And so that's a very interesting scenario that I hadn't even thought about until I looked at this card. But sometimes spirit guides visit us in dreams, or the universe has messages for us. Psychic messages come through in many different ways, but they're always in ways that we can interpret. So whatever symbols are sent to you, they are things that have been sent to you because you can understand them. It's a language. So you can do this even if it seems daunting at first, and it's really insightful. Like, I just learned so much about myself. Oh my God. So back to the theme, freedom was a major theme here, and flying actually is all about freedom, sexuality, independence, creativity, and expansion. And I like to track my reoccurring symbols. So I'm going to show you, I create a legend. And so freedom would be a spiral. Let's just say that. I came up with one on the spot. And wherever it is, so I'm actually filming this at the end of the year, but if you start this at the beginning of the year, 2023, then you can use this entire thing. And I just keep track of all the symbols that come up in my dreams. So every time I get a freedom symbol, I am able to, keep track of how many of them. And then by the end of the year, I can look at all the symbols and I can see, okay, which ones came up for me a lot, which ones, are just happening here and there, and I can journal about it. And I have an area in my journal about, where to reflect on your dreams, but you can do it in anything you're using. Like if you're using a notebook, feel free to write a little entry from time to time of, all these symbols that are coming up. And if you notice any reoccurring ones, what that could mean for your life and what that's trying to tell you, because it's just your subconscious or your intuition trying to speak with you. So yeah, so I have a bunch of these types of pages in here that can help you get started, but it's really about listening to your intuition. So these are my regular in-depth dream journals, and I have multiple different covers that I've created that are really fun if you want to change it up and try something different. I just got really creative and I had a lot of fun with it. But remember, you don't have to get any of these. I'm just sharing them with you if you're interested. I've also created some psychic dream journals that are really cool, and they are more for people who are interested in psychic stuff and building up their psychic awareness. And if you like tarot cards or you want to know more about predictions or past lives, this is the kind of journal that will help you start getting into that and kind of exploring that spiritual side to your dreams. There's a lot more when it comes to psychic awareness here. So there's different types of psychic dreams. There's areas for you to track tarot. So I have some different covers that I've created for the psychic dream journal as well that are just different themes and illustrations if you're interested in changing it up. Remember, you can easily pull a tarot card for yourself if you want to. You don't need to have a journal that has a tarot card area, but it's always nice to have something like this to guide you. I also have dream journals that explore the inner goddess. This one's mostly geared towards women or those who want to develop their feminine energy. And I have a few different options for that, but it's just a different variation. You can look at how your menstrual cycle will affect your dreams and also the archetypes when it comes to feminine energy and masculine energy as well, and balancing that out and learning about how your dreams can actually affect that and what kind of energy they hold. There's also a mind, body, soul check-in. Just thought I'd share with you guys because I'm really proud of this and I've been working really hard on these journals, and I'm just, I've been really exploring the dream world, and so I wanted to share that with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so happy you're here, and happy holidays. Dream journals make great gift ideas, so if you are interested in getting a dream journal, I have posted the link to my Author Central page below, and you can check it out. If not, happy holidays. I'm so excited. Bye-bye.